Welcome Friday morning. How's it going this morning, Doug?
Hey, it's going good. Yeah. Optimistic about the weekend in front of us. It doesn't hurt to have like super awesome weather carrying us into the fall. So yeah, I'm doing good. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty good.
Eric, are you doing that really cool, like blurred out Zoom thing?
I am. How's it looking?
It looks really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
It's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of it. It makes it seem a little fancy back here. Doug, do you know what a cryotherapy is?
What?
Cryotherapy.
Okay, I'm trying to think. I never took Latin, but a couple of my high school boys are, so I'm thinking cryo. No, I don't know what it is.
So it's like a cold therapy. If you think like ice onto your body or something like cold to try to find some type of therapeutic effect from it. And I was watching one of my favorite shows, Shark Tank, and this guy had pretty much developed a product for pretty much a place where you can have a ice bath at home. So instead of like a hot tub, it was a cold tub, and it was called
terrible.
Oh man, have you ever been in a cold tub before?
No.
Oh, the water is at like 45 degrees, and you sit in it for 3 to 5 minutes. It's an experience, but once you get the hang of it, it's really good for you. And so this guy developed it in the heat of the pandemic. So when we were really low on the stock market, everyone wasn't doing very well. Two of buddies in a garage developed this product, built them 5 of them by hand, and started being a profitable business. Then jumped onto Shark Tank and got $2.4 million as from investors, and now they're a thriving company. And I thought that was just a great way to be optimistic in this type of environment right now. And I thought it was just a cool little story.
There you go. The cryotherapy. I did it myself, Eric.
I wasn't going to mention it.
Yeah. I took a lifeguard to mine, and Connie, I was in a really bad car wreck in 2016, and a friend called me even while I was in the emergency room. He said, Keith, as crazy as this sounds, take an ice bath for the next 5 days. And it was hard work. It was, I thought there's a chance it would shock my body. And so if you ever decide to do it, call me. I can give you the tricks that I learned from that process, because it did miraculously, it kept me from having all the pain they thought I would have from the wreck. I didn't have literally that. I had some other issues, but not the pain from the wreck. So there you go. Nice work, Eric. Doug, what do you think about life as we know it today?
Well, we were texting earlier in the week, and when I think about life, Eric talked about optimism. There's pessimism. You can be a cynic. There's nihilism. There's all kinds of nihilism. There's all types of isms that you can be. But I think that the best place where you can be living is just with your eyes open and curious about how stuff works. Talking with other people who have experience in this or that area that sparks an interest in you. And so that's what I think about life is take courage and talk to people who are learning and doing adventurous things. It's the heartbeat of life. It's why those dudes created the ice bath, is they got curious about how they can help people. And so all of that is rooted in wisdom, which you can't even buy that out there, but it's worth pursuing, it's worth chasing. And even in this stock market, like it's just getting its butt kicked year to date. It's just been tough. But like pursuing wisdom on it. That's why you're here. Is you want to know what's going on in the marketplace. And I can tell you, I've spent this year reading old books, learning new things to me that were known to other people, and just trying to acquire as much wisdom I can, and really enjoying it, waking up excited in the morning to learn more about the markets.
I we had an article in the Anchor this month that was use it, lose it, or infuse it. And I was taking my own advice, I came up with this, I don't know if you can read this thing or not, but it was a rock that I had in that drawer. You put all, I don't know if you guys have that drawer that has
The catch-all.
yeah, and so I was cleaning out that drawer to lose it, and I saw this rock that it says success on it. And I'm like, not sure why I'm keeping this particular rock, but just even the idea of success is really a peculiar thing. I was hanging out with a friend yesterday, and he had arranged an agreement with a man to buy a car from him, and he was called the man to pick it up, and the guy said, I had somebody offer me $2,000 more, and so I sold it to them. I don't have any more. And he's like, we had an agreement. You didn't even call me and ask me about the $2,000 if I would pay that. And
Yeah.
this fellow was 78 years old, and he kept saying it was for the $2,000, and he and I, my friend and I, were just talking about at 78, if it is getting that extra $2,000 part of success at that point in your life. Are there other things that drive you? And I think that's really a big deal, is really seeing what really is important to you, because success as a 25-year-old like Eric, I thought it was a bigger bank account, shinier car, and all those things. But as time passes, success really looks a lot differently for me than it did at that point in life. So
What is it? What's it look like for you?
I think success is, as complicated as it is
Yeah.
to have the best day possible today, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was doing some volunteer work, and it involved smoking 150 pounds of pulled pork and brisket, which
You're going to eat all that?
we're giving that away to somebody. So it was a treat. It was a hilarious day, and we just had a lot of fun with that. But that was yesterday. Today, I get to hang out with some clients, and that's gonna be fun. I was meeting with somebody early this morning, and they were just telling me some stuff about themselves that made them interesting to me, that just put a smile. When you came in, I had a smile on my face, and
You did.
yeah, and so just the ability to make the most out of the day is really success to me.
Yeah, and one thing Keith does well, you all know that, is just consistency. Like even this Friday webinar call, I was on a call yesterday with some guys, real estate investors, and one of the dudes was asked, "Are you doing any training? Are you sharing what you're learning?" And he said, "Yeah, I started a YouTube channel," and he humbly said it, but he's got like 15,000 subscribers. And how does he do it? Consistently, every Friday morning at 8:00 a.m. And just that kind of thing, that consistency in life is great. And so, like, man, we have had some inconsistency at Gimbal here lately.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we've had some inconsistencies on some of our direct business, and we're fighting through that. It really stinks. But the consistent effort is we're gonna make it right. We're going to keep pursuing excellence for you. And I just want to reach out to you right now. If you're struggling with some of those things, please let us know. We want to hear where you're at. We care about it.
Yeah, it is. It's easy to never change, and change is hard. And so, and when you change, you have basically the world of the unknown, and the unknown can scare you to passivity or just, nothing. And yeah, I think the idea that we're willing to constantly change and improve just really keeps me invigorated. I know that.
We made a big change way back in the day, in 2009. Keith and I met for coffee at a Starbucks, and I remember we talked about, what does managed money look like? What would the buck stops here type decisions look like for clients? And I don't know that many advisory firms are doing this across the country, where they're actually buying and selling. Most of it's asset gathering and stuff like that, and that's okay. But the buck stops here attitude is what we talk about every Friday with you is the stock market and what's going on in the stock market. We got opinions. I don't know if the market cares about our opinions, but we got them. And so, yeah, do you want to dive in on that?
Yeah, I always think of the couple of fellows at Hilliard Lyons that trained me in the 1980s, and their mantra every time they come into training: we're often right, we're often wrong, but we're never uncertain. And just their idea, I didn't appreciate their idea of having an opinion back then as much as I do today. And I think having an opinion allows us to listen to your concerns better. It allows us to help you think through where you're at better. And I think a lot of you pay us to have an opinion. And so that's a big deal. So this was my opinion a couple weeks ago. Let me show you what my opinion was. Where's my drawing pen? I suggested that something interesting was going to happen as these two lines start to converge, both on the NASDAQ and the S&P. The NASDAQ wasn't converging quite as predictably as what the S&P was. And I kind of thought on the S&P that we might see it kind of just zigzagging through here, that we would get out here to some point out here and have a conflict moment. Well, we had the conflict moment sooner. It was that Monday that the inflation came in. It was a Tuesday. I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday. The inflation number came in and shocked the market, and we came below this trend line right there on that day. I'll refresh this here real quick. Real slow.
It's got to go to space, man.
That's right.
It literally went to space and back. Give it some time.
He's so impatient. Yeah, so we crossed below that 50-day moving average, and it did it on pretty good volume, and we just haven't had any buyers come back in. You saw the same thing. So
And what caused that? Can you highlight the gap down that we saw just the other day? Right there.
Like right here?
No, that like open up this morning. You see that?
Tell me where I'm going here.
Right
here?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, today. This is today.
Yeah.
There's today. This was the one.
Was that a couple days ago?
The 12th. That was a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Those are big ones.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about that real quick?
About today?
About gaps.
A gap is, if you look at these charts, I gotta see if my technology skills are any good.
And gaps are normally the result of an expectation being missed, either positively or negatively. And so if a stock were to have incredible earnings,
yeah,
and it come out at 4:01 p.m. after the market closed, it would spend all night with these guys guessing what it could open up at the next day, and the price could be way above where it closed at 4 o'clock or below.
Yeah, and in a normalized market, see how these lines are here and here and here. These are the daily ranges of the stock market. This one I think was the S&P. Yeah, it's the S&P 500. And if you look in a normal market, that these ranges are right around each other. They don't skip a space very often. But we closed, I think that was Monday. We closed in that range on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we opened this much lower than we did Monday, and never traded that high. And we ended up with a really big range for the day. And consequently, we just had more sellers than we had buyers. And so the gap, what a gap often will tell you is that there's just a huge imbalance of supply and demand. And that happens in really anything. If you have a disruption in supply or demand, the prices will shift dramatically. And so we had another gap down today. It wasn't as dramatic as earlier in the week, but today was caused by a little shipping company. And again, we had an opinion on this. We liked this
I
company.
meant to high five you on that.
Yeah.
And we can't get into those details, but yeah, You talk about a gap.
I think we made money on this stock when we had it.
Yeah, there were pyramids in,
Yeah,
pyramids out.
yeah, so it was a profitable trade. And I think if I go over here, I can take that, where's the box? All boxes, maybe I'll take that off. Yeah, so I think,
Can you highlight that gap? Like maybe go to the.
well, there's a gap right here. There's a gap right here. And then this one is so big, it doesn't even show it. Like the price is trading 160 and it's not even on our chart over here. So the gap is so big, they're gonna have to do
It's
some.
a serial gapper.
Yeah, and we got in it. I think I'd have to go back and look at our history, but I think, the one of these gaps said, you know what? We need to take our profit or break even or whatever we did and get out of it. But when it came down below the 200-day moving average right there, it's just struggled with it.
And you
Got it.
You see the imbalance of the supply and demand when you look at the.
At the volume over
Yeah,
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of selling
Monster.
going on.
Monster.
That's not, what do they say?
Aunt Susie. or
Aunt
whatever.
Susie trying to get out.
And even
That's,
look at this one today.
yeah, today is a big volume day. And so you can buy and hold things, but this might take you
Yeah.
a long time to get back to. Yeah. I mean, if this is the weekly chart of this company, and there is not, like, see this range for this week, you're going back to 2016 and there's not a weekly range of that level on the downside or upside, but that tells you a lot of people that have a lot of money are not wanting to be in that stock. They're willing to get out of it at a fire sale price. They're just saying, get me out of this thing. And my guess is, if you're wanting to buy this, and we're not making recommendations, it's going to take a while for this thing to come back. And so the buy and hold strategy can work if you're fortunate, but you can't just fall asleep at the wheel, because you can see capital deplete pretty dramatically over time. I mean, this company has been a good company over the years. You can see this kind of a trend that went on for a while, but then it didn't. It gave back almost 70% of it in that little period of time then. And then when it started taking off again, it went up again. But you can see that even this kind of a V shape that we went through in 2018, 19, and then here we're kind of going through a V shape again on this thing. And so it'll have an impact if you do buy and hold companies that give you that kind of volatility.
Anything you can put your hard-earned dollar to is speculative. It's stocks, real estate, cryptocurrencies. I mean, anything where you can say, hey, there's a potential where I could grow my money here.
Yeah.
It's a speculative move. And you take a company like the one we just highlighted, and that seems conservative enough, but it's
Yeah.
not. And
Yeah.
so, I heard that a few times this week. Hey, we're looking at a conservative, a safe investment. Anything you can put your money to is speculative. There's risk on the downside, and knowing what they are is huge. Knowing when you could say, give me my money,
Yeah.
and what it takes to get that.
Yeah, I was telling Eric earlier, William O'Neill, who we've spent a lot of time studying, says all stocks are speculative. And starting off with that mindset, then it allows you to say, I need to be mathematically thinking about what I'm doing here, because if I would let something drop 50% in value because I think it's a good company, but my thinker is wrong, the market is right, I have to get 100% return just to get back to where we started. So that's what's going on. The S&P, here we are on the S&P, we're down below the 200-day, we're down below the 50-day. It's going to probably flatten this thing out and probably prolong, the time we're down below this for a while. But we're still optimistic that maybe in the fourth quarter that we'll see the election effect take place, and we're in the second year of the election cycle, so that gives you some optimism historically. But we're going to let the market tell us when the market's more optimistic, because it can't at this point get above that 200-day moving average without crossing and staying above the 50-day. And so that'll be an indicator for us to see what's going on.
It seems like the fly in the ointment right now. It's just, where will the consumer price index come in? Meaning, where are we spending our money? At what pace is that? And so if that starts to cool off a little bit and we start saving our money again, maybe, and we start to see some rising prices. But I can tell you this, optimistic or pessimistic, I don't care. You think about the opportunity, and we know the opportunity is normally a smoother ride above the 200-day moving average. And right now we're still below that. So capital P, patience, is the name of the game for investors right now.
Absolutely. And I want to just point out to you again, inflation begins in Washington, D.C. In case you were believing it began with COVID or it began with the pandemic or lockdown, it all began in Washington, D.C. I was doing an analysis earlier in the week on the newsletters that we send out every week, and I put them in a spreadsheet so I don't repeat topics over and over again. But I was looking in the 2021, and in January of 2021, so almost 2 years ago, I was writing about the idea that inflation has started. Almost 24 months ago, I was writing inflation has started, and it started in DC, and it was before there was a Russia thing. It was before it was saying this is bad policy that our Federal Reserve and our governments have done. And I would throw the state and local governments under the bus as well, because they don't handle our tax money as though it was their own. They do handle it as though they're their own, but they don't handle it as though it's our money that we worked hard for. So enough about inflation beginning in Washington, D.C. If you hear anybody saying anything else, just point out it begins with the Federal Reserve and the federal government. The other thing was, as a natural saver, it occurred to me this week, I am one of the people that get punished the most through inflation because I don't spend money on stuff. And so if I don't spend it, it's depleting value. So I've been thinking of spending money, and I don't
buy some new success rocks.
Ooh, I could get a whole
New rock
a little I could get a rock tumbler. I was looking at some random vehicles last week and thought I might buy myself an old car and just have it, because I'm getting ready to lose. I'm getting ready to turn this convertible back over to Kristen, so I don't want to drive the Suburban back and forth, but it's something new and fun. But definitely inflationary times historically punish the natural savers.
Yeah, just because what's in the bank is not keeping up.
Yeah, and if you've been spending and buying stuff, a lot of times the cost of whatever you've been buying is going up in price, and so by being a
Toyota dealer told me the other day, this was the advice from the Toyota sales guy. So this is not a recommendation. He said, Doug, if you just buy a new Tundra, you could drive it for a year and sell it for more. And I thought, I don't know.
Can you put that in writing for me?
I don't know about that one. Have you ever seen a stock chart?
Yeah. There's not.
Those are the crazy times we're living in, where like experience matters. And so if your last trade equaled this, then you might make another move based on that same expectation.
Oh, and along the lines of inflation, a couple other things I saw in my notes this week, and I didn't know this, I don't remember where I came up with it, but if you live in Turkey, their inflation at the end of June, 1 year trailing, is up 78%.
Yeah, there's a few places like that in the world right now.
Yeah, and that points out the risk of inflation, because that creates really a lot of it can create violence and a lot of other things. But 78%, I remember hearing from one of our clients that one of their family members was buying real estate in Turkey probably 8 or 10 years ago, and real estate probably holds up as well as anything during inflationary times, but all the uncertainty of that kind of inflation is really, really difficult. Then the Senior Citizens League, did you know there was a thing?
A baseball team?
That's right. It's a website. I don't know if they it's seniorsleague.org. I think they maybe are some competition or something to AARP. I didn't really have time to study it, but what they pointed out, since the year 2000, even though Social Security benefits have gone up, they have participated buying power by 40%. So those of you that are on a fixed income would basically feel these kind of things more so than somebody that's working right now. All right, I'm gonna go to my cynicism again. I read this week. California, my friends, has 563,000 electric vehicles as of 2021.
Okay.
563,000.
Is that a lot? It sounds
The
like a
total
lot.
in the US at the end of 2021 was 1.4 million.
Okay,
So roughly 40% of that, right?
yeah.
And 563,000. No other state has more than 100,000.
Are they offering more credits?
Well, 2035, their mandate is no gas cars can be sold there anymore.
Yeah.
And if you do some extrapolating of the math, it's not going to happen. It's just their math can't work it out for them. And you showed me a license plate that Indiana had earlier.
Yeah, like we appreciate coal or something.
Yeah,
license plate.
yeah, it was one of those vanity plates from Indiana that we appreciate coal. And the fact of the matter is that it's coal that is necessary to get the electricity necessary to energize those. And on September the 6th, I don't think we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but on September the 6th, the czar of the California grid told the people of California, we're going to need you to start unplugging your cars.
I think that one of the best memes I've seen is a gas generator. I don't know if it's fake, but a gas generator charging a Tesla. And I love the technology of an
Right.
electric car. I love the innovation. I mean, man, what cool stuff. Great power, great torque, quiet ride. But there's just some silliness going on.
Yeah, and so just like the cryotherapy technology, all sorts of technology create opportunities for us as American citizens. It creates the opportunity for us to have luxuries that we would never otherwise had. It creates jobs for the people that are sitting at home trying to get money from the Shark Tank people. There's all kinds of things that benefit from the creativity. And the reason, if I recall right, that the beta tape didn't work as well as the VHS was that it might have been ahead of its time. And sometimes technologies, the best technology doesn't become the standard because it's not the right time. And so there's a timing element involved with it. And I would suggest that the so-called leaders of California are ahead of their skis, and they're going to find themselves in a big problem with, I don't know if their grid is going to overload and have big problems, but to think logically and rationally about the decisions you're making will have impacts on a lot of people. But yeah, I think the possibilities are exciting now. I think, I mean, even for us in a down market, by us having cash there, it gets us more and more excited that we're gonna get to buy some opportunities here in the not too distant future, and we're excited about that.
Yeah, that day will come.
Yeah,
That
and
day will come.
it'll give us some beacons of warning. But today, we're thankful to have cash. It's
Well, I
the
like
king
your
right now.
definition of success. That's my takeaway from today's call. Just to live today. Don't worry about tomorrow. See what you got going on today. That's really good, and get involved in that. And take courage and do it.
Yeah, I mean, we are just about to the end of summer here. We're going to have a weekend, at least here in Indianapolis. It's going to have summer weather, so you can get outside and enjoy that before you got to start pulling out. I saw you wore a vest in today. You're going to have to start pulling out those jackets and things before long. But if you want one last hurrah, the next few days are going to give you that here. And then those of us who like the fall will get that opportunity coming up soon too.
And if you're looking for something to do this weekend, there's a big go-kart race out in Newcastle. And there's going to be all kinds of future race car drivers racing their little go-karts out there. And that would be a great road trip just to go see a couple laps at the Newcastle Speedway. That's what the Shreves are hoping to do, is go cheer one of our little buddies on.
And if you can't do that, you can do this. If you go to AAA, which I did I tell you this?
Nope.
I went to AAA and got this.
Is that a triptych?
No, it's a map.
Oh, what's that?
It's what they used to use before telephones. And
Let
it's
me
like,
get my phone book so I can call these guys.
and this bad boy, if you go out and buy it, according to this thing here, is $7. But I took my Indiana map and I did this with it. I drew a grid on it with my highlighter. See the lines there?
Wait, I gotta get in front of me so I can see the lines.
Yeah, so I drew yellow lines.
Oh, I like it. All the
And-
counties?
And just right over here, no, they're not counties, they're just the country roads.
Okay.
And it's future road trips that Connie and I are gonna do. And the one that I put here with the blue was one we did last weekend. We went and explored Indiana 32 from 31 up the road here, all the way almost to the Ohio border, and then we came back across 36.
This is Jeff Shreve Music Row. This is how he made a living, going to all these high schools along the route that you took. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, and so we just have
That's
future
awesome,
road
man. I
trips
like
here, and we found a little town called Winchester, and it was so intriguing
The
to me.
Force, that was their band.
Ooh.
Winchester, the Force.
It's so intriguing to me. I booked a bed and breakfast next weekend to hang out with Connie there and go explore Winchester. So I'll know about the Force. They have
Silver City? Is that
I don't know. I'll
They've
know
got
next.
like some coin dealer type thing around.
Oh, I heard about that. And then they also have a pie factory that I forgot the name of it, but next week I'll know, or not next week, 2 weeks from now, I'll know all about it. But you guys make the most out of your days, because I know we're going to, and we'll see you soon.